Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we're going to look at lifecycle management with S3. So this is a lab and you will need to log into the AWS console. Okay, so I'm logged into the AWS console. If you just go to S3, you'll be able to see the buckets that we created in the last couple of lectures. I'm going to go into my versioning bucket that has my objects in it, and I'm just going to go over to management. And in here, we can see our lifecycle rules. So let's go ahead and add a lifecycle rule. And it says here, you can use lifecycle rules to manage your objects. And essentially what it does is it's going to automate transitioning your objects to different tiers of storage. And then once you, when you specify it, it could expire your objects as well. So let's go ahead and hit add a lifecycle rule. I'm going to call it my lifecycle rule, something like that, rule. And I'm going to go ahead, and before I hit next, you could put in tags or prefixes in here. So if a specific object is tagged, it might be any object belonging to the finance department, for example. This lifecycle rule would then only apply to those tags. So bear that in mind as well. So let's go ahead and hit next. In here, we've got our storage class transitions. So we can have lifecycle rules enabled for just the current version or previous versions or both. Let's go ahead and do both. So we're going to do current version and previous version. And then in here, we add our transitions. So let's do a transition for our current version. So we're going to say from S3, normal S3, after the object is created, we're going to transition to standard infrequently access after 30 days. And we're then going to transition it from standard infrequently access to Glacier after 60 days. And then in here, we've got our previous versions of our objects. So we're going to add in a transition, and we'll do exactly the same. So 60 and 30 for these two different tiers. So there we go, 60 and 30. Let's go ahead and hit next. And then we can also configure expiration. So we can actually expire our objects in both current versions and previous versions. So we might want to do that 425 days from the date of which the object was created. And for previous versions, we're going to permanently delete a previous version also after 425 days. You can also click in here to say clean up incomplete multi-part uploads. This is when you're uploading a file in multiple parts and you split it up, and it will actually upload faster if you do it that way. But sometimes you can have files that just didn't get uploaded correctly. And so if you click in here, clean up incomplete multi-part uploads, it will basically go in after 7 days from the start of the upload and delete those files. So let's go ahead and hit next. We can review everything in here. So we've got our, the name is my lifecycle rule, the scope is across the whole bucket, and these are all our different transitions. And then we go ahead and hit save. And that has now created our lifecycle rule to the whole bucket. And you can see the actions for our current versions as well as for our previous versions. So that's all lifecycle rules are. You basically set up a lifecycle rule to move things around from different storage tiers and eventually archive it off to Glacier. You can also use it to permanently delete your objects as well. So what are my exam tips? So my exam tips, well, just remember what lifecycle management is. So it basically allows you to automate moving your objects between the different storage tiers. It also can be used in conjunction with versioning. So you don't need versioning turned on, but if you do have it turned on, you can use it in conjunction. So you can do it with your current objects as well as previous versions. And like I just said, it can be applied to current versions and previous versions as well. So that is it for this lecture, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, feel free to move on to the next lecture. Thank you.